I was texting Sam Hazelwood during the Purdue game with like 15 minutes to go in the game, and he's like, "Oh, it's over. Purdue's got this." I'm like, "Dude, fuck off." And he kept saying it.
Was he trying to jinx it?
No, he was dead serious.
Oh, it's like the Will Fagan treatment?
Yes, and then I made him take it back. I told him I was going to block him if he didn't stop.
I was going to start trolling you and saying, "Oh, Purdue, they're up 5. This is fucking over." But then I didn't want to barrage text messages. I was watching my niece's Easter egg hunt, and I was like, "I'll just let Purdue win. I really don't care." No way Tennessee's going to beat UConn anyways. That makes zero difference.
In a row right there. That was the best game of the Elite Eight. That is crazy, though, what we were just talking about before we got on. The women's three-point line, they played the game without a correct three-point line.
Yeah. Once again, I think it's I know you're neurotic and we're a coach, so you would have been like, "No, we got to play with the right three-point line." I would have been like, every single one of you lame-ass coaches says anytime, any place, anywhere, and you want to cancel a game over 6 inches on a three-point line, quit being a pussy, as Big Dog would say, all right?
It was 6
Speaking of Big Dog, I mean, quit talking about women's basketball. We'll touch on that later.
Wait, hold on.
Caitlin Clark, LSU, we'll cover that in a little bit.
I have a funny story before we get to Big Dog. Are you going to lose your train of thought if I say this?
Oh, maybe. What do you got?
Well, look.
Caitlin Clark?
No, when I was a freshman coach at St. Mary's Hall, the first year I was there, the second year I was there, I took a team who had won 0 games in the past 2 years combined, and we won the district championship. But the year after, I had the absolute worst team I've ever had. We didn't even have enough kids to field a freshman team, so we had to have a couple of the bad sophomores be on the team. And I love those kids. But we were terrible, and we had won one district game the entire season, and we were playing the only team we had beat, Austin Savio, and we were playing them up there. Well, because refs in Austin, they don't start games till a certain time. We didn't start the game till 6, and they only had one gym, so it was freshman JV varsity. So they were like, "We want to get the game over with quickly." So they were like, "Hey, do you mind if we change the quarters from 8 minutes to 7 minutes?" And normally, I would have been like, "Fuck yeah, I mind." But with this team, I was like, "Let's make this game as short as possible." So we make them 7 minutes. I'm like, "Okay." We're tied at the end of regulation. We go to overtime. And they come up and they're like, "Okay, well, normally overtime is 4 minutes. But because we did 7-minute quarters, we want to get this over quickly, we're going to make this 3 minutes." I'm like, "I don't like it, but I'm okay." Okay. We tie at the end of overtime. 2 minutes, double overtime.
Next
we
one
tie
score.
at the end of double overtime. 1 minute triple overtime. And the guy comes over to me and says, "Hey, just so you know, if y'all go to quadruple overtime, we're just going to do sudden death."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I like it.
And so, of course, we end up hitting 2 free throws with 6 seconds left to go up 2. And the kid for Savio banks in a
Love it.
47-foot half-court shot at the buzzer to beat us by 1. I was devastated. But
one of my all-time hardest moments of dealing with.
It was a tough loss.
I don't know.
It was a very tough loss.
Still have nightmares over that 47-foot three.
I remember that. You were going to say something about Big Dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, the people of America, you, Bailey, everybody doubts him, but he just continues to do amazing things. He's winning the bracket challenge right now.
Will he win the bracket challenge?
I have no idea.
You do have an idea.
Well, I'm not going to get in.
UConn wins,
I'm not going to get in it.
Chance.
Well, he's winning right now.
He picked
okay?
North Carolina. They were out in the Sweet 16.
He's winning right now, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but I've heard little Bailey told me that the bracket that he filled out on video, as he said, time-stamped with a newspaper date to prove that's the date, is still undefeated. Put America on notice. Big Dog. This is his backup bracket that's winning our challenge.
Why didn't he put his main bracket in there?
I don't know.
Did you put your main bracket in our challenge?
I did. Well, I only filled out one.
Right? There you go.
I only filled out one because I'm an American. I'm not a communist.
Oh, so
I don't need 25.
He's a communist. So he's a communist for filling out multiple brackets.
No, you can do 2. Only 2. You did 25.
I did 10.
You did 25.
You
took advantage of all 25 ESPN brackets.
I did 10. And I would have done 25, but I ran out of time. And, look, when you can win a free car and $80,000, you do the bracket challenge, all right?
No, is that what it is?
When the deposed king of Nigeria asks you for help You help. You don't ask questions.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on, man. What are you talking about here?
What is it?
Communism.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Damn straight.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Michael Scott.
That's right. Yeah.
Isn't that what it says like on the cup or something?
Yeah.
It's like all three guys. He puts his name on there.
I saw some video of a kid doing the actual Michael Scott free throw routine in an actual game the other day.
Absolutely classic.
It was great.
He nailed it too.
One other quick funny story before we go, because we're talking about women's basketball, and we will touch.
Can't get enough.
Hold on, we will touch.
We are your official South Texas women's basketball podcast.
We will touch on the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese matchup tonight, but this is you'll like this one. Okay, so when I used to, I think I may have told this on an earlier episode. When I used to do the clock for Alamo Heights after I graduated, I was in college trying to make a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
You get $25 a game. And a lot of times I would get the varsity, or I get the boys. And so I'd do the JV and the varsity, make $50 to $60. And a lot of times they would actually at Alamo Heights hire 3 people. So you'd only have to do like either the scoreboard or the clock. Like one person just started and stopped the clock.
Big money school over there.
That's right.
Big money.
That's right. High end, high class, very good, classy organization. But we sometimes got stuck doing girls' games. And I got stuck sometimes doing the freshman girls' games. So I had a couple different people who did them with me at times, and we'd have a little thing where we did a record of how fast you could get a game done, how long the longest game, and what was the record? Would we have? It would be an over under. Like, would there be more jump balls or points scored? Jump balls would usually win out, but these were 8-minute stop clock games, and you of all people would know that there's a lot of stop clock. I know you're a big high school girls supporter with your nieces, so there's a lot of stoppages in a girls' basketball game at that level. So what I would do in that Sky Gym, there was only one scoreboard. And anybody at that game is watching that game intently, right? Like, they're not there if you're not going to watch the game. Nobody's going to that game if they're not family. So those people are into that game. So when they would go down, and if it was a blowout, I didn't do this in a close game, so it was a blowout. They'd go down on one end. The scoreboard was on the other end. I got so good at the clock that you had to stop it to do this. So I would stop the clock and I would hit. It would be, let's say there was 5:04 to go in the game. Stop it, set man clock, 4:04, enter, boom, and then start. And so I would shave a minute off the clock immediately. And I did that.
That's like a criminal act. I like that.
I did that like once every quarter. And so we'd go from 8-minute quarters to 7-minute quarters.
That's funny.
Yeah, I swear to God I did that.
And parents would look back at me like, oh, I guess there's only 4 minutes. I thought there was 5.
Noticed.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Honestly, probably a lot of those parents were like, well, let's just get this over with.
Yeah. I mean, no one's...
There's always the one parent, like, your brother who's out there giving the official a hard time in the girls', freshman game, but...
It's usually soccer officials, but yeah, he usually lays off NBA, what am I looking for? Basketball officials.
Yeah.
He's not as rough on those guys.
More
Soccer
intimate
ones,
setting there.
No, like, he's not scared to do it. I think that he knows that, like, in girls basketball, there's a foul every time down the court. So it's kind of like you have to be kind of selective what you call. And
Fair.
And it's only one of my nieces now, and she's still middle school and is playing like 6th grade CYO. So, I mean, you can only do as much, and the clock just runs. Thank God. If the clock didn't run, you're definitely right about jump balls. There's definitely more jump balls and points.
100%.
100%.
I mean, it's
a
like
jump
a scrum.
ball for it. Thank God there's a possession arrow, because if you had to set up for every jump ball, you'd be there for 8 hours. But yeah, you go into the next wherever we're going.
We can jump into the.
I still have Caitlin Clark in the main screen here. ESPN's homepage. Caitlin Clark shooting a jump shot. Much watch TV tonight.
Well, it is must watch TV, and I'm going to watch it, and you're going to come over and watch it whether you like it or not. And you're going to support her, and I'm going to buy you a Caitlin Clark shirt.
I'm definitely cheering for LSU tonight.
Oh, then don't come over.
The heel. Me and Big Dog are pulling for the Tigers. It's on record.
Big Dog is whipped, and he will not be rooting for the Tigers tonight.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he will not.
The fact that you just said that on air is.
Let's jump into the tournament. We had the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 this weekend.
That's where we were headed.
Round of 32, we had favorites go 15-1 straight up. One outright upset. It was Clemson taking down Baylor in the round of 32. Every other favorite in the round of 32 won. So we had very few high-seeded teams. I believe everybody was a top 5 seed in the Sweet 16 with the exception of Clemson, who was a 6, and NC State, who was an 11. And they did not pull an upset to get there because they beat Oakland in the second round. But I think we'll start here and we'll kind of just go around. But the Sweet 16 was very different. We had favorites go 3-5 straight up. There were a lot of upsets in the Sweet 16. There was one upset in the Elite Eight. But the second most improbable run that I want to talk about for a second is Clemson. Clemson gets to the Elite Eight. The only one that was more improbable that we'll talk about is NC State. But, I really just want to bring this up because we watched this game together. And in the Elite Eight, I had a player prop parlay. And I needed fucking 2 more points from PJ Hall. And the motherfucker just doesn't know how to stay out of foul trouble. He had 2 fouls in the first half. All I need him to do is not foul out of the game. 6 minutes to go in the game. He's got 3 fouls. I mean, son, keep your hands to yourself. When you got 4 fouls, you pick up the third one. And by the way, Brad Burnell putting him back in the game right before the TV timeout was idiotic. But why are you even putting your hands anywhere near anybody?
I would say that the last one, especially, some of them were weak, but the last one, the Alabama kid, it was a pretty bad call.
It was a bad call.
I mean, I guess to his defense, he had some bad fouls that were just like, what the hell are you doing? But the last one, the Alabama kid literally did wrap him up and, stole the call and got him fouled out. But yeah, you kind of spoke that into existence. We were watching. I know he's going to foul. He's going to foul out. I know he's going to foul. Well, and then the next thing you know, okay.
Well, hold on. I didn't say I know. I didn't say I know he's going to foul out before. I just said I know he's going to foul out at some point because the kid doesn't know how to not touch people.
Yeah.
But I was just I just need you to get 2 more points. And he actually had a layup attempt right before that and tried to draw a foul on Grant Nelson instead of just going up. He would have got it right there.
Yeah, they let Grant Nelson get away with some in that game too.
That's what I don't like about the tournament. Number one, and this is a good point to talk about, they need to switch the rules. We need to have 6 fouls in college basketball. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's got to happen in the next 2 years, I think.
I mean, you're moving towards
why are you... Yeah, I mean, it's just there's no... I get that it, brings almost a new strategy into the game where it's you really do have to... I would say that it brings more coaching into, it's a harder job for the coaches, but as far as the fans, you don't want to see teams' best players foul out.
Right.
You just don't want to... You don't want to see it. I used to be against it, but now the way they officiate these games, it's so easy. For James Madison, for example, when that kid picked up the 2 fouls in 40 seconds, okay, well, the game's basically over. Yeah, he can't defend anybody anymore. He can't pick up his 3rd foul. They're going to take him out of the game. It just affects the game too much. 6 fouls, you can still have people fouling out. Whatever, but it just gives you more freedom. We don't want to see players pick up 2 fouls 8 minutes into the game and have to sit the rest of the first half.
Yep.
There's no point in doing that. I think it'll change for sure in the next 2 years. I think we finally gotten to the point where the basketball purists are going to let that go.
And we're moving towards more of a NBA type game in terms of now I do agree. Rick Barnes said this. The college game is more physical than the NBA game. It is. You get away with more in college for sure. But you still watch games. I mean, look at Tennessee, right? Purdue shot 33 free throws in that game yesterday. There are a lot of fouls called in college games because kids don't sit still very well. They can't stay out of trouble. They're 18, 20-year-old kids, Well, some of them are 26 now, but most of them are 18 to 22. And so, you've changed the rules where you allow less contact over the years, right? We put in the hand check rule, and we put in these different rules to make it easier for the offense. And now we take away, basically, they make the charge rule where it's almost impossible to draw a charge. So if you drive to the basket and there's any sort of contact, it's going to be a foul on the defense almost every time. So you change these rules to make fouls more likely, and then you don't change the number of fouls. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you have to. Right. If you're going to change the rules in that direction, then you have to.
But I will give Clemson credit just in terms of their run. I mean, not only did I not expect it, I don't think anybody expected that. Even though they were a 6 seed, that's not the most improbable.
I think 60% of America had them out in the first round against New Mexico, right? So I don't think anybody was expecting it. They weren't playing that well. An impressive showing for the ACC, I'd say. I think they definitely exceeded their expectations. Jay Billis said, I was listening to him talk, obviously noted Duke homer, but he said that this NC State run, he thinks, in the last 3 weeks, is the most impressive run he's seen in college basketball as far as like how improbable it is. He's like, you have a team that's 100-1 to win the ACC championship. They have to win 5 games in 5 days. Then they get a Thursday game, and you're thinking to themselves, okay, after that run, they have to be physically and emotionally drained. How can they keep doing it? And they just keep winning.
Yep.
I mean, I think that they're obviously you have UConn right now, who's just far and away the best team in college basketball. And then you have Zach Edey, right, who is pretty much impossible to guard. And it's such a weird matchup and a tough matchup for Burns when they play that you don't see them getting past Purdue. But it's funny because, like, outside of those two teams, I think North Carolina State would beat anybody right now just because how confident they're playing.
They probably beat Alabama.
Like, if they were playing Alabama, I think they would beat Alabama.
Yep.
I really do. And not that they're better than Alabama, not that it makes a lot of sense, but with the way Burns is playing and, you know, they defend pretty well. Horn's a good player. It's just such a – I mean, all year no one was talking about them. No one thought they were any good, and then they do this. Yeah. And then Bailey brought up a good point, which is funny, is that DJ Burns was a Tennessee Volunteer, then transferred. I was like, they would have liked to have him. Him and Knecht would have been a sick duo if he stayed there.
I mean, he fits the mold of what Tennessee wants, too. Like, it's actually surprising that he left there, but he probably wasn't playing much, to be honest. I mean, and part of that is, you know, if you look at his minutes throughout the year, he doesn't play more than 27 minutes a game most of the time because he just can't. He can't get up and down the court. I do want to touch on this a little bit more, though, because this is one I was going to get to this later, but I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to pose to you that question if you thought it was the most improbable run of all time, because you think about it. So real quick, I'm going to give you a trivia question. I know you're not the biggest college basketball guy, but
I won't get it, but I'll try.
See if you can name a couple of these, right? So we've had 6 total 11 seeds make the Final Four since the tournament expanded. I'll give you the first one. Was
FAU.
They were a 9.
Were they a 9?
Yep, they were a 9. They were the 8-9 matchup.
Loyola, Chicago?
Yeah, so that's one. Hold on. So the first one, I'm going to give you LSU 1986, because you wouldn't have got that one. Yeah. I wouldn't have got that one, and I'm a college basketball nerd. So Loyola Chicago was 2018. I'll give you the years for the other ones. Okay. 2006, 2011, and 2021. I can
2021 I can probably get, but was it? Did K-State make a run?
No.
Miami.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
But you were close. Miami was a 10 seed and got to the Elite 8, and then they were a 6 seed last year, got to the Final Four.
I couldn't remember how high of a seed they were.
2021 was the COVID year, and I'll give you a hint. They're a Conference of Champions school, and their coach is still at the university.
Oh, okay.
They lost on a half-court buzzer beater, if you can remember that. That might.
And he's still there? Is it?
They were a first 4 team.
Oregon?
No, UCLA.
Well, that's what's going to be my guess, but I don't remember.
Johnny Juzang?
Yeah, no.
Hawkes.
I definitely remember that team, but I did not think they were an 11 seed.
Well, here's what's interesting.
I thought they were I thought that year because UCLA had those good years. Was it Mick Cronin's first year? Second year. But yeah, that's weird. I had no idea they were 11 seed. I would have been obviously that would have been the next team, I guess, just because, whatever, they've made runs, but in Oregon hadn't been to a Final Four. I don't know why I said that.
No, they have been to one. I believe they went to one.
With Altman?
Yeah. But I will say this, UCLA that year, I looked it up because I wanted to compare it. So we'll start with them. They were 17-8. That was the year after COVID. And so they played a significantly shortened schedule. So, like, for example, NC State finished 17-14. They played 31 games going into the conference tournament. UCLA was 17-8 that year. So they played 6 less games, and they were an 11 seed that year. So, again, NC State, much more improbable considering where they were. Then you look at the other one. You said Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago was a 20-plus win team going into the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Then you had 2006 was George Mason.
I remember them, yep.
And that was with old man from Miami. What's his?
Jim
Larinaga. Yeah. Jim Larinaga. They go, that one maybe was more unlikely because they were a mid-major. But they, again, if you look at their record, they were a 23-win team, and they got an at-large bid. That team was an at-large team. They did not win their conference.
Then I would
tournament.
say
VCU was the last one. 2011.
I should have gotten them because I was there.
And they were a first four team as well. Did not win their conference. All those teams.
Is that the year they beat Kansas or lost to Kansas in the Elite Eight? I was there. It was at the Alamo Dome.
They
played in the Elite
beat
Eight.
Kansas at the Elite Eight in the Alamo Dome. I was there too.
Yeah.
Yes. So those teams, all those teams had better records than NC State. All but one of them, Loyola Chicago. Actually, I'm not even 100% if Loyola Chicago was. They might have gotten an at-large. All of them got at-large bids with the exception of maybe Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
And you have NC State, who, this is crazy, dude. Obviously, we talk about the Virginia one, right? It was 1 minute and 11 seconds to go. They had a 78% free throw shooter for Virginia shooting 2 shots and the ball. If you make both those free throws, it's like I think it's probably 0.5% going into the free throws. If he makes them both, it would have been 0.1%. And they win the game there. And then what's crazy, I didn't even know this. They played Louisville in that first round because they had to play
and we're losing, right?
They were tied with 4 minutes to go in the game, 78-78, and barely pulled it out and made some free throws late to make it look a little bit respectable. Didn't even cover the spread. And so this might be the most improbable run I've ever seen from a team where you just think like, I legitimately thought they were going to lose in the first round to Texas Tech, and they didn't. And then when they won the second round, won the first round, they got Oakland in the second round. I thought Oakland was going to beat them. To be fair, you know what's interesting? I think Oakland was the team that was closest to beating them.
Could have had a shot to beat them.
What if Oakland wins?
Didn't get a shot off to beat them, but
had
a possession. Yep.
If Oakland beats them, do they go to the Final Four? Are they good enough to go to the Final Four?
Probably not, just because they're a fun team, but I would just say no, just because they rely solely. I mean, obviously Townsend's a good player, but say you have Townsend versus Baycott, or whoever.
Well, it would have been versus Marquette.
Marquette, yeah. It's North Carolina, sorry. They played Marquette, and I mean, I don't know. Marquette's one of those teams too that it's just all year, it's like if Kolek isn't playing well, they're pretty much doomed. I will say, in my opinion, it definitely is the most improbable run because, like Jay Billis said, like just winning, like getting there is one thing. Like once they're in the tournament, is it the most improbable? Probably not. But the fact that they had to win 5 games just to get there, and they hadn't been very good, it just shows you how powerful the mind is, really, because it's all psychological. I mean, it's all like, that's why these golfers go out and get sports psychologists, because, half of it is believing you can do it, or maybe more. And they legitimately don't think they can lose now. Like, they probably thought they could lose that game to Louisville. And then that shot went in, and they just feel like, man, if that shot went in against Virginia and we somehow won the ACC tournament, we're gonna win every game we play.
Yeah,
they genuinely believe that at this point. It's like we're a team of destiny. It's divine intervention that we're gonna win the national championship.
And I don't think that any other team experienced that type of thing with that shot. But you do have to think about it. It is remarkable when you think about you had a number of other teams do the same thing they did, where they had to win their conference tournament to get in, and probably had very similar belief beyond the shot, where it's like, okay, Oregon did the same thing, and Oregon almost got to the Sweet 16, damn near beat Creighton, probably should have beat Creighton. You had New Mexico did the exact same thing, probably wouldn't have been in the tournament, run through the Mountain West, which has been a gauntlet all year. They lose in the first round.
It's like people that think that there's no, like, you have your numbers people that think, so it's like, when it comes to baseball, whatever, your money ball, whatever, and they think that it's just pure statistics and whatever. There is definitely momentum in sports, and
100%.
But there's some people that legitimately like, oh no, it's a game-to-game deal or a shot-to-shot deal, and it's the numbers don't lie. But that's why I always tell people it's the same thing in baseball, where it's like over a course of 162 game season, you just follow the analytics all the way through. But then once you get into, like, here we are, a tournament where it's like, it's all about feel. It's all about momentum, doing what you think's right for your team psychologically and mentally. And it's like, to me, it's like North Carolina State has to know we're not as talented as, what they wouldn't admit that openly, right? But like the record indicates that they're not as good as these teams.
They're not dumb.
They were never going to get in the tournament, but it's just the mind's a funny thing where they just genuinely believe
Yeah.
There's no one that can beat us now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is. Like, UConn's way better. Ain't going to beat us right now for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, I will say this, and I'm not discrediting anything they've done, and they didn't deserve to be in the tournament based on what they did in the regular season. That's not even a question. But I will say this. It did play out pretty favorable for them in terms of who they had to play. So they got Tech in the first round, who isn't bad, but middle of the road, struggled down the stretch, had a couple injuries that played a role, including their starting big man who had missed like the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And that was a huge loss because he would have guarded Burns. So you lose him, Tech doesn't play well, you win. Great. Then you get the benefit of not having to play Kentucky in the second round. You get a team in Oakland who was, a tough out, but talent-wise, right, you dodge Kentucky in that round. Do they beat Kentucky? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Kentucky's a weird team. Could they have? For sure. Would they have? I don't know. Then they get Marquette in the third round. Not discrediting Marquette, but like you said, they're kind of like that. They've never been under Shaka. They had never been out of the first weekend. Now they get to the Sweet 16, and it's like, okay, this isn't some juggernaut. We're not playing UConn. We're not playing Purdue. We're playing Marquette. And then they get up early, and they take care of business. And then the last game I thought was the most important. If Shed doesn't go down, and I want to get to Houston in a little bit, Shed doesn't go down and Houston plays them, I don't think they beat Houston. I think that would be just a terrible matchup.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think they beat Houston.
So it did play out favorably for them. That said, Burns was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the most impressive win for me was yesterday, and I don't think Duke is that great, but the fact that they were down
like
7 at halftime, 7 or 8 at halftime, and every other game they had led at halftime, and Duke was playing pretty good defense. Burns had gotten going, but nobody else could make a shot. I think NC State shot 21% in the first half. Like, nothing was going right for them. And it's kind of to the point you just brought up, right? Like, they just went into halftime and were like, we've won every game up to this point. We're playing poorly? We're only down 7. And I mean, they seized control of that game real quick in the second half. It wasn't like a wear down of 40 minutes and they stuck it out. They were up by 13 late in the game because they just seized control. They took the lead about the first 5 minutes of the second half. They seized control, never gave it back, and ran away with it. They were the better team the majority of the game, and that's why they're going to the Final Four. I want to ask one question here to you. We already touched on kind of the improbability of this run, and we've spoke about Kevin Keatts before, the head coach of NC State, a little bit. He was on the hot seat before this week. He really was. There was Bruce Pearl, who's a coach, and when a coach said this, it's true. He's like, he probably was going to lose his job. He said that on the broadcast because Bruce Pearl's been on the CBS broadcast doing the tournament. He was like, he's probably going to lose his job. Now he gets an extension. And it's a really interesting question because this is the only sport, it's the only job in America where you can do a poor job all year.
Now, for several years.
Several years.
Yeah.
Have one good stretch of 2 weeks and, basically boost your career for maybe ever. Because you go to a Final Four, that sticks with you as a coach forever. That's like a lauded position to get there. It's very hard to get to a Final Four. So he gets to a Final Four, and you look at it like, it's interesting how universities, and I want your opinion on this, evaluate coaches. Because if I'm somebody who is an athletic director and I'm watching a coach and he does a poor job for 4 years and has one improbable run to a Final Four, I understand the logistics of it. You're not going to fire the guy, obviously, but it's hard for me to be like, well, yeah, he deserves an extension through 2029, which is what Kevin Keatts got. And credit to Keatts. He did a heck of a job through this run. I'm not trying to discredit.
Yeah, that's quite the extension.
I'm just saying, think about these other things. Like, okay, FDU's coach last year, they were 16-16. They did not win their conference tournament. They only got in because the team who won didn't have eligibility to go to the tournament. They beat Purdue, and he gets the Iona job. Not that Iona is a great school, but it's a step up, right? Like, you win a tournament game, and your whole career changes, whereas you could be horrible for the whole year. Get into the tournament, win a game, and get a better job. Do you think that is... Do you think if you were an athletic director, would you evaluate coaches like that? Because it is an interesting question when you have tournaments. Your success is based on how you do in the tournament. It is. But the reality of it is, that's not the whole thing. The majority of it is not that. And yes, you have the tournament, you have to have some luck, and you have to have a few things go your way. And one run, is it worth it? Like, would you be giving extensions to guys for winning games like that?
No, I mean maybe like a 2. I mean, was it a 4-year extension? Is that what it is? 4 or 5 years?
I think he got. Well, I think in his contract, getting to a Sweet 16, he got an automatic 2-year extension. But I want to say,
that's probably.
But I want to say they extended him.
Yeah,
I want to say they extended him to 2029, I believe, when they got into the tournament.
Got it. I would probably put. I think that's actually good incentive-based stuff where it's like, hey, if you do make it to a Sweet 16, it's an automatic 2-year. Because I think that's very fair. Even if you have a shitty season and you do make it to a Sweet 16, you somehow get in like a 2-year extension, I have no problem with that because that's a success for NC State, right? Like, I mean, there's some schools like Gonzaga that have been there 9 straight times. That's successful for NC State. I wouldn't be giving guys long extensions for just making one run. A great 2 weeks to me, if you're mediocre, and then just have a great 2 weeks, I'm not signing you for an extra 5 years.
Right.
But, I feel like we kind of go both ways on it, right? Because, Cal's always good in the regular season, right? It's lost 2 tournament games, and now we're like, well, should they fire Cal? So it's like, I feel like both people like to play, both sides of it. I think, you can find a middle ground where I think it's like, hey, if you're NC State and you make a Sweet 16, you're the coach, 2-year extension, whatever. Right. You make it to a Final Four, we'll give you a 3-year extension. You win the national championship, we'll give you a 4-year, whatever. Yeah. So incentive-based contract extensions, I think it is smart, but I do think we get carried away where it's just like, you have good 3 weeks, he makes it to the Final Four and it's like, okay, 5 more, we're signing up for 5 more years of this right away. And you're like, okay, I mean, I get why they do it, but I don't think there's other universities with coaches that are like on the hot seat that are like going like, oh, we got to get this guy now. A lot of times they do it for protection, because they're going to leave. It's like the whole Jimbo Fisher fiasco at A&M where they're like, oh, we're scared he's going to leave the LSU. Let's give him fucking $1 billion. Like, doesn't work out well most of the time. But I'm fine with 2 or 3 years if you make it to a Sweet 16, especially as a school that typically doesn't. I mean, that's fine. That's
the trade-off. NC State is not a team that's going to Sweet 16, so I get that.
And if I was an AD, that's how I would do the contract. So I'd be like, hey, look, if you make a tournament, whatever your contract is, like if I was at NC State's AD, and I'd say, if you make the NCAA tournament, just make it. I'll give you an extra year on your deal. Right. I think that's good enough at NC State. Yep. You get in the tournament, you get an extra year on your deal. If you make it to the Sweet 16, I'll give you an extra 2 years, whatever it may be, and go about it that way. And then, if you're mediocre during that time, it's like, as a coach, well, I need to make the tournament to get an extra year. Like, I don't think anybody, I don't think most coaches would be like, oh, I deserve an extension by not doing that. So I think that's a pretty good way of doing it. So whoever came up with that, idea to structure it with incentives did a good job instead of being like, we're going to pay him $5 million a year and extend him another 7 years for going to the Final Four. Yeah. So,
I mean,
how much money does he make a year? Do you know? Did he get like a raise for doing this? I assume
probably did.
Does Kim Mulkey make more money than him?
How much did you say she makes?
What a fucking joke.
How much does she make?
$3 million plus a year to coach women's basketball at LSU. I know this is why we'll never get sponsors, but I mean, that's fucking nuts. You got people, and like I said, I don't give a shit about the WNBA, but you have the best players in the WNBA making like, what, $300,000, $500,000. You have a Kim Mulkey who's coaching at LSU making $3 million.
It's ridiculous.
I'll do the job for $500,000. And I could do 40% of what Kim could do. So it'd save you some money.
You might be able to do 60%.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's just a fucking joke.
He got a 2-year extension automatically by winning the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
A $400,000 pay increase that begins next season, and a bonus of $100,000 for winning all of that for winning the ACC tournament.
That's good. He's got to get. I mean, NC State.
His contract will now run through April 15th, 2030.
NC State, is happy to pay that because they didn't think they'd be in the spot, right? Yeah. So that's why you put those incentives in, like, okay, yeah, sure, but if we go to the Final Four, we'll give you an extra whatever years. But I mean, they're happy with it. It's not that big of a deal. I just wanted, I just don't like to be locked into coaches for several years. I think it's kind of crazy. I think
the only thing I will say is, here's Kevin Keatts' run at NC State. He's been to before this year, in 5 seasons, he made the NCAA tournament 1 time and lost in the first round, and was 8 games under 500 in the ACC. So that's my problem with it is,
how many years you said he was there?
5 years.
Yeah.
Now I will say 1 year was the COVID year, but looking at their record compared to the other 2 years, I don't think they would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe, they would have been on the bubble. But again, do you take that whole one run? And I get it's a Final Four. I understand that. But, I'm sorry. They made the NCAA tournament last year. So two times. 2 times in 6 seasons. This will be the 3rd time now. So it's a little bit better. I guess you get to the NCAA tournament last year, and now you're building a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he's not had success there. And they did not have success this season. And so that's why he was on the hot seat, right? Again, and I want to move on past this, but the shot doesn't go in, he's fired. 99%.
Yeah.
The bank shot, the guy doesn't make the shot. Virginia makes 1 free throw.
Crazy.
So it's just very, very interesting. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Interesting topic.
Speaking coaches, Andy Enfield got hired by SMU today.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he got canned at USC.
SMU fired their coach after 2 seasons?
I guess.
Wow.
SMU has hired USC's Andy Enfield.
No wonder he was coaching so hard in the NIT. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
He had gotten the job from some small mid-major and moved up to SMU and then got fired after 2 years. Wow. I guess.
It says they fired him last month, but that could have been yesterday. I hate when people write articles like that. Did they fire him on March 29th or something? And the guy wrote, they fired him last month. Why don't you just put, they fired him 3 days ago. Now they hired Andy Enfield.
Yeah,
anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, I just saw that on the college basketball feed.
The guy who was Bailey will like this. The guy who was the head coach at SMU before Enfield just got hired was a Tennessee assistant for 4 years under Rick Barnes, and then went to Georgia State as the head coach. And after Georgia State made the tournament once, I guess got the SMU job. He now just got the head coaching job at Rice, so moved over.
There you go, Bailey. Some breaking news out of the state of Tennessee. This is gonna. Bailey cares about this. Lady Vols fire Harper after 5 seasons. She's gone, Bailey.
Oh no.
Do you think it was because they probably did that because they almost beat South Carolina? Wasn't Tennessee the team that almost beat them?
Yeah, in the SEC tournament. They should have beat them. Banked in a 3.
Maybe that's why.
I want to talk a second about Houston. Actually, before I do, sorry. The second most unlikely run to the Final Four here was Alabama. I want to touch on them for a second. And we both watched this team, and we for our March Madness game, which, by the way, I calculated it out. So I have 160 points.
You got to be killing me.
Well, so you have 95, I have 160. Now, there is a way you can win, because the championship, you get a 50-point bonus, and to go to the championship, you get a 20-point bonus. I'm up 65. So if Purdue gets to the finals, then I win. But if Purdue loses to NC State
and UConn
wins the championship, which is possible, you would win.
Damn, that sucks. If I would have had, that means if Tennessee would have won yesterday, I probably would have won.
Yes, that would have been because I had Purdue. Yeah, exactly. You had Tennessee. You probably would have won. You definitely
son of a bitch.
Won. The Vols screwed you multiple ways yesterday. But if you look at it, I think 2 of your teams lost in the first round.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible. That's why I was.
I had one.
I figured
you
were ahead. I had Kentucky, McNeese got smoked.
I had both Cinderellas win a game.
Who was the other?
Drake lost. Drake lost in the first round. They should have won. That
should have won at least one game. They weren't going to beat Iowa State.
But when we were doing that game, the reason I brought it up is I had Alabama for a second in there, and I liked them for a week. And then you and I watched a game that I bet on. Surprise. And it was at Alabama. And it was essentially for the SEC regular season title. It wasn't the outright, but it was whoever won had control of their own destiny.
Against Tennessee.
At home, winning at halftime, and just absolutely collapsed in the second half. Couldn't get a rebound to save their lives. Legitimately, we both were talking about it during the game. It looked like they didn't want to give the effort necessary to win the game. It wasn't worth it to them to play defense. It wasn't worth it to them to rebound. And both of us just got completely turned off Alabama. And then after that happened, we got confirmation bias because the next 5 games, they went 2-4 their last 6 games. They got smoked the first game of the SEC tournament by Florida, a Florida team who had beat them by 20 a week prior. And so we're watching this team like, okay, they probably will get out of the first round. Wouldn't be shocked if they lost round 1. If they do get past them, St. Mary's is probably going to kill them. They got a very fortunate first round game against Charleston. They were overseeded because of last year's team. And then they got fortunate that Grand Canyon upset St. Mary's. And it was
still could have lost to Grand Canyon.
Probably should have lost. They were down 3 with 5 minutes to go. But again, then the only real game that they had, like where they were an underdog, was against UNC. Every other game they were a favorite. And that game came down to coaching. And I think I want your thoughts on Alabama's run in general, but I do want to bring this up. The UNC game, Hubert Davis in that game was horrific. They were, I believe, up 8 at halftime, had put up 54 in Alabama, and it was like, okay, this is exactly what we expected, right? Like UNC's a high-powered offense, Alabama can't play defense, and Alabama wouldn't go away, to their credit, hit a bunch of big-time threes, and to their credit in this run, they've had a different guy step up multiple games, and that's what you have to get to a Final Four, right? Like Mark Sears carried them the first 2 rounds. He had 30 and 28, and then in the Sweet 16 against North Carolina, who stepped up? Grant Nelson, the big white post. He had the game of his life, like you said, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks, huge plays down the stretch. But the dumbass of the week goes to Hubert Davis. It has to. He puts in this kid, Paxson Wojcik, who had not played significant minutes in a month. Here are his previous 8 games of minutes. 3, 2, 3, 5, 2, 9, 8, and 4. The 9 and the 8 came in blowout wins. So he had played not more than 3 minutes in a game that was meaningful in over a month. He had played 12 minutes the whole tournament. He played 15 minutes in the second half of that game. 15 minutes in the second half. And I hate when coaches do this. It's like they're trying to be cute and smart, like, I'm going to make the decision that wins us the game. I'm going to make some decision. And it's because North Carolina has 2 kids who can't shoot, and he wanted to try something different. But then he puts in a kid named Jalen Withers. And with a minute to go, a minute and a half to go, they're up 3. They have the ball. They don't score. Fine. Alabama cuts it to 1. You have the ball under a minute to go, up by 1. The kid has made 2 threes all year and launches a 3.
He fired it with confidence.
It was like that Stony Point kid shooting the shot, right?
And then he somehow got redemption because he made the other one wide open.
Yeah, well, Withers didn't get redemption, and North Carolina fucking lost. So
yeah, no, it was, I don't know why he shot it. Hubert Davis is pretty bad. I think that the thing with Alabama, and you don't have to talk about it too long, I think it's obviously it's a, they're making their Sears is heated up that second half when we watched them play Clemson. And like you said, it's been a little bit of Batman and Robin when, he hasn't been his best. People have picked up the slack and helped them win. But I think the big thing with them is there's just an effort on the defense side of the ball now.
Right.
They're just trying to play defense.
How weird is it that
because that's what because it just happens. I mean, it's like teams in the regular season. It's like, look, you can harp on it that this matters all day long and this and that and the other. Like, you got to play defense. They just didn't in the regular season. And now it's win or go home, and they're playing harder on the defensive end. It's that simple. I think Nate Oates has just finally gotten to him and be like, guys, you're not going to win any games unless you play fucking defense. And so they are now. And I think that's been the difference. I know we're going to pick these games probably here in a second.
We will.
But I think
we'll go to it in a second. But how weird is it, to me, it is at least, that teams are able to turn it on like that, because it's not just Alabama who did that. Illinois was the same way. They were outside the top 100 in defensive efficiency all year, and they started playing defense in the tournament. It's just
an effort thing.
It is, but it's weird because normally you get a team who doesn't do it all year and they're kids. It's hard to turn a switch on, but we've seen it the last couple of years. Miami did the same thing last year. Same thing. They were great offense, terrible defense, but they started trying in the tournament.
Yep.
It's just an interesting trend to look at when you pick brackets.
Yep.
Sure
is.
But
we'll expect them to play defense in the tournament.
Yeah.
Or at least effort level to
improve a little bit. So I guess before we do the games, I want to talk 2 more things real quick. Number 1 is UConn. Is this the most impressive run you've ever seen in college hoops? by a single team.
Well, in my lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, I mean, I think UCLA because that in our lifetime, since the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I mean, I don't know. That Florida team was good, man. I don't know, but I would say yes. I mean, they're just beating. I would have to go back and look how Florida beat people.
They weren't as dominating as this.
I mean, this is just a dominant run. And they went on a 30-0 run against Illinois.
30-0.
And I'm looking at it right now, just looking at the the matchups here. I hadn't looked at it, but they're favored by 11.5 over Alabama.
And I think that number might be short.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that they'll end up they have every single game. So I don't know. It's Alabama's going to have to shoot really, really well to keep the thing close. So
I guess maybe you could argue, like, if there was a team that could maybe do it. I think I'm just reaching here, but because they shoot so many threes, maybe. But I don't think that's – I'm going to get to what I think the recipe to beat UConn is here in a second. But I just want to give some of these stats because I think they're crazy. They're 10-0 straight up and 10-0 against the spread since the start of last year's tournament. They've won every single game by at least 13 points. This year, in this tournament, they've won every single game by at least 17 points. In all 4 games this year, they have led. This is the craziest stat I've ever heard. In all 4 tournament games this year, they have led by at least 30 points in all of them. How is that possible? How is that even fucking possible?
That is crazy.
They have led by 30 points.
In every game?
In every game. They didn't play bums. They played the first game fine, right? Stetson. Yeah. After that, you play. It's hard for a team in a first-round game to lead by 30. I mean, normally the spreads are 22, 23, 24. They led Northwestern, who was a top 4 team in the Big Ten, by 35. They led... In the second round, San Diego State, who went to the championship in the Mountain West, went to the national title last year by 35. They led against, in the Elite Eight, Illinois, who was maybe the hottest team in the country with the best guard in the country at the time, up by 33 in that game. It's just absurd. I've never seen anything that dominant in my entire life. They're winning games by an average margin of victory of 27.5 points this year.
Yeah, I mean,
in the tournament.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
There's
and they
no
don't
other
even have
word.
a bunch of pros on the team. There's 2 guys who are going to be pros on that team. Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan. That's it. I don't think Tristan Newton's a pro. He's a European pro or a 2-way guy, but he's not going to get drafted, I don't think.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's wild. I don't have any words to describe it. I mean, it's just a dominant run. So
it's also,
I don't think anybody's going to beat them.
No, it's not. From a historical perspective, it is crazy too. Just real quickly that they won in 99, they won in 04, they won in 11, they won in 14, they won in 23, and if they win this year, it'll be their 6th. All in that year span, and it's 3 different coaches. That's what's so interesting to me is they've done it with 3. They had Calhoun won the first 3, Kevin Ollie won the 4th one, and Dan Hurley's won 1 and probably will win his 2nd here. I mean, that's what it's like. There's something up there, and just you're going to live up to that level or you're not going to survive there. It's just not going to happen because you don't see that in sports anywhere. I don't see that anywhere in sports.
It's an Alabama-esque run in college basketball. It really is. I mean, you don't really think about it being that way, but like after these last 2 years anyway, you have to. Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah.
And
so that'll be what? It'll be 5 championships in 25 years, essentially?
6.
6
if they win this year. It'll be 6 in 25 years.
Yeah, that's hard to do, especially playing in a
college
tournament.
Basketball because of the tournament is what makes it so unique.
Yeah, it's not like BCS where it's like you're the best team so you get in, right? So yeah.
It's like Bama was maybe more dominant over a 10-year span, but they're not over a 25-year span and not with the difficulty of winning the championship itself.
Yeah.
It
would be like winning different, but like the FCS title where you had to play a tournament every single time.
Right.
And there's only 30, it's 3 less games too, because I think you start with that tournament with 24.
Oh, is there buys?
And then the buys. Yeah, there's buys, I think. Or 32, I can't remember. Something like that. But I think it's the top 8 teams get buys. Something like that. But yeah, it's crazy dominant run. That's for sure.
I do want to touch real quickly before we go into the games. The best Elite 8 game, I think it's worth talking about because there's some key points here. Tennessee versus Purdue. Best Elite 8 game we've had. This is a very interesting stat that I heard a commentator say during the game. This is the first time in 5 years we've had an Elite 8 game where the 1 seed played the 2 seed. Isn't that pretty astounding? 5 years we haven't had a one seed play a 2 seed.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. I had to look it up. So that was interesting. And then I think this was the only region, maybe you could argue Illinois and UConn, but I think Iowa State over the course of the season was better than Illinois. This is the only region where the best 2 teams in the region met to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And it absolutely delivered and more. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal game. Tennessee came out on a heater, and you never walk away from the table when you're on a heater. Dalton Knecht, 4 of 4 from 3 to start. He was on fire. I think it was only like 19. It was 19-17. It was a weird game. It was 19-17, like 10 minutes to go in the half. Purdue was up 2. Tennessee goes on a 15-2 run and goes up 11. And I was like, man, this might go. If Tennessee's making threes like this, Purdue can't win. And Purdue finishes the last 5 minutes on a 15-2 run right back and takes the lead going into halftime. But to Tennessee's credit, there was like multiple times in the second half where I was like, Purdue's going to run away with this. They go up 5, 6, at one point 8. Every single time Dalton Knecht made a play. There was one play with, I believe, like 10 minutes to where Purdue had the ball up 8. Lance Jones, interestingly enough, this guy, I had to look this up. I knew he was a transfer. He transferred from Southern Illinois. So he is like one of the better players on Purdue. He and Marcus Damask transferred from Southern Illinois.
Oh, that's crazy. It would have been cool if they stayed.
I know. One thing that sucks about the transfer portal, right?
NIL, yeah.
I mean,
and
again,
transfer portal,
you have both ways of it because
I feel like they both probably would have stayed if they weren't making money anywhere else.
100%,
yeah,
100%. And that team would have been really good. They were good last year. Just didn't make the tournament. So 10 minutes to go, Lance Jones drives. Looked like he has a wide open layup to go up 10, and kid comes out of nowhere, blocks it. Tennessee turns it in a hurry and runs. In like that, in like 1 minute, they go on a 7-0 run, cut it to 1. Knecht bangs a huge 3 with like 5 minutes to go to tie it. And I want to talk about the officiating, but Tennessee had every opportunity to win this game regardless. Tennessee had the ball in a tie game, had back-to-back possessions where they had it. Purdue, they weren't able to score. Purdue had a possession. They weren't able to score. Tennessee got it again. So 2 possessions where they could have taken the lead. They never led in the second half. So they had plenty of opportunities. The problem is they lived on jump shots, and no one else made a shot besides Knecht. It was basically an Edey versus Knecht battle. Did you catch much of this one?
Didn't catch any of it.
Really?
Easter egg hunt with the
God.
family. Yeah. But I knew exactly what was going on because Tennessee was up early and you were bitching to me. You had like 15 text messages run off in a row about the foul count, how there's no fucking way Purdue could win the game. And then I didn't hear from you for like 20 minutes. And I was telling you before the podcast, I knew at that point Purdue was probably winning the game. So I checked it at the Easter egg hunt and Purdue was winning. And then it was pretty quiet. No, it was quiet. And then it started heating up. I probably got 5 more text messages in a row.
I don't remember those.
And I was like, Tennessee may have a chance. You did. Like in the second half, you were like, they can't just, I forgot what you said, but it was like they came back to tie it. And I was like, oh, maybe they have a chance. And then it was quiet for like 20 more minutes. And I was like, Purdue won.
I love our relationship is that based on how I'm texting you of how the game's outcome. Yeah. That's a beautiful relationship right there. That's like, we actually are.
It was actually pretty funny. It's like married couple, but it's like, yeah, I was like the Easter egg hunt. And then I was like, had my phone on Do Not Disturb because it would be going crazy. But then I looked and I was like, I have 7 text messages. This is good. Maybe Tennessee's winning. And then when it went deathly quiet, I was like, this is not good for Tennessee, who I only had them in my bracket, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Usually when we get in these debates, especially it's cheating for me because I type on my computer and I'm like type like 115 words per minute. So when we're texting back and forth, I can go and
I'm just like, how is he shooting these text messages out so quick?
And so, but it's funny because I get excited. A lot of times, what happens is I send 5 or 6 messages. Turner responds 10 minutes later with 1 or 2. I send 10. He responds with 1 or 2. But when Turner's drinking, it's a back and forth. And so I get real excited when Turner starts drinking because we're going to have a real conversation.
Much more entertaining.
Way more entertaining. Like when I was playing poker that night on Thursday of the first round, he was texting me like, hey, motherfucker, stop watching your games that you're betting on. I want an excuse to go to Vegas, win the fucking poker tournament.
Because you get to go to the World Series of Poker if you win the
if I win that tournament, which it looks like I'm going to do. And so, yeah, we had a fun conversation that night. So very, very interesting little way our dynamic relationship here. It's like a older, younger brother.
That was a long night.
For both of us.
A lot of Miller Lights were consumed that night.
If we get
that was the first Thursday of the tournament. That's right.
Yeah.
I had to leave. Yeah. And then I met some buddies at Anchor Bar. Yeah, that was funny.
And
I do remember that. And then I don't even remember if you won. I had fallen asleep by then. I got all these text messages that you won. I was like, nice. Woke up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, still drunk, probably, unfortunately.
I remember
all the Miller Lights.
I stopped getting responses. And you just see, I start texting like, hey, I'm in the final 5. I'm in the final 4. I'm in the final 3. I'm in heads up. I'm huge chip disadvantage. I took the lead. I won.
Hey, you were hoping I was not in jail. I was asleep.
No, I knew exactly what happened. I knew you passed out. It was
usually
1 o'clock
I go to sleep. Oh yeah, because way past my bedtime. You were playing pretty late. So yeah, that was funny.
But yeah, honestly, Dalton Knecht, I get it. Zach Edey, big guy. We've talked about it.
Fucking
it's annoying. I will give him credit. He has improved his skills. He made some nice moves yesterday. Knecht was the star of the game, hands down. Bailey hates me saying this. I know he hates Tennessee. He's going out of his skin over there listening to me talk good about the Vols. But listen.
It's a damn shame that you graduated from such a fine university, Bailey, and you turn your back on it like that.
How dare you? How dare you? Yeah.
I know.
I mean, that's what he's saying.
I know.
You graduated from Tennessee and you disowned them. You're a Vandy fan. But look, Knecht was 14 of 31 from the floor, 6 of 9 from 3, 37 points. He made 14 shots. The rest of the team made 10. He made 6 threes. The rest of the team made 5. He carried them in this game and damn near won it by himself. And the difference was just Purdue had an ogre who was too big and too strong, and they just was no denying the ogre. Which, by the way, you would have loved it. He airballed a free throw late in the game, and it was like a big one too. Like, so it was a 5-point game with like 41 seconds to go, and Tennessee had fouled him, and he missed the first one, barely caught the front rim, and then airballed the second one, and Tennessee all of a sudden was like had life and had a shot. It was pretty classic, actually.
He's just, I mean, he frustrates me, but I mean, I get it. He's a good college player. I don't think there's a reason he went back to college, because I don't think he was going to get drafted, right? So
I heard somebody
did they say that he's going to get drafted this year?
I heard somebody say
let's look it up. I mean,
this blows my mind. I hope I'm wrong, but I heard somebody say on the radio last night, that he was projected in the first round. There's no fucking way. There is no way. He is not a pro. If anything, he's a two-way player at best. But that's what I heard. I do, while you're looking that up.
I'm looking. Your Big Dog sent text messages. Okay, let's wrap this bitch up. Let's go wrap it up now. The only person that should be talking about the fucking tournament is me. And then he sent the Kenny Powers, which you have to put up for the people, that says, get your shit together. get your shit together, fucking pussy Bailey. Hey, listen, that's a good point. If anybody's talking about the tournament, should be the leader in the clubhouse, Big Dog himself, college basketball guru.
I mean, yeah. Well, it does say that he's going to get drafted now. Okay, so some places have him in the middle of the second round. One draft, ESPN has him 14th, which I would lose my mind.
I could see him going like if someone wanted to just take a flyer way
in
late,
the second round, yeah.
I think he'll end up going in the second round.
If someone takes wastes a first round pick on that ogre, it'll make me throw up. That would be the only. I would laugh. I actually hope the Knicks take him with like a top first round pick. That would make me. I would enjoy that very much. I do want to touch on the officiating.
Spurs better not fucking take him.
No, they're not that stupid. They're stupid, but they're not that stupid. He shot 22 free throws in this game. Now, 4 of them were intentional foul free throws late. So he shot 18. Tennessee as a team shot 11. Do you have a problem with that?
What?
The fact that they shot 33 free throws and Tennessee shot 11?
Well, I mean, of course I do, but you think Purdue should have shot another 35 free throws. So
I would look. Okay, full disclosure. Okay, I had a bet on Purdue, a big bet. And Purdue, my whole bracket was riding on Purdue. I hate Purdue. I've always hated Purdue. And so it was hard. I was biased. I was definitely rooting for Purdue, and I definitely wanted them to call fouls for Zach Edey. Now that I've won the bet, right, I can take a step back and look at this unbiasedly. And I looked at it, and I'm fucking right. They should have called more fouls. I mean, Owaka was fucking sexually violating the guy down there. Literally. I mean, I don't know what that was. He was touching him in places that no one should be touched all game long. Owaka played 14 minutes and fouled out. That's the backup big for Tennessee. He committed 19 fouls in those 14 minutes. I mean, he got away with a lot. And so did a lot of Tennessee players. I mean, look, when you have a rule that says you're not allowed to have an open hand on a guy, and the guys are having two open hands on you and pushing you out of the lane, fine. I don't blame Tennessee for doing it whatsoever, but then don't bitch and moan when you get called for it. That's my
I'm
issue
telling
with
you,
it.
you got to go 80s throwback with Edey, and you just have to, the first time he goes up, you have to Bill Lambier him.
You're right.
You absolutely do, because he's a big pussy. So if you take a swipe at him and take a flagrant foul, like it looks like you're going for the ball, and you rough him up a little bit. I'm not saying cheap shot him, just saying a hard foul to start the game and get it started with that kind of tone. He ain't gonna like that.
I agree.
He's not used to being touched. He thinks every time you touch him, it's a foul. You just get him. I don't know if you got a player like Shaquille O'Neal over there, maybe DJ Burns. It would be awesome if he smokes him the first time he goes up and then like starts barking at him or something, just like tries to get in his head, because I mean, obviously there's about a 8-inch height disparity there.
Yes.
7'4" to like
I don't even know
6'8".
what's DJ Burns, 6'9"?
Yeah, 6'8", 6'9". I don't
Can't
know.
be bigger than that.
Yeah.
6'9", yeah. Okay, let's go right into it. Final Four preview. Let's talk about that one. Purdue, NC State. The line's 9.5. Total's 145.5. These are probably the two biggest lines we've seen for like both games in a Final Four.
I think they have to be.
They have to be. I mean, we're basically
combined
touching double
20
digits
points
in both. Yep. So, NC State, obviously the advantage that they've had in every game they've played in the tournament has been DJ Burns, like you just said, right? Like, you play the first round against Tech, they don't have their one guy who could possibly guard him. Huge advantage. Oakland had to basically triple team him. Then they play Marquette. Iguodaro's outweighed by 50, 60, 70 pounds. And then last night you had him go against the biggest bitch in college basketball, Kyle Filipowski. And John Shire had the audacity to have Kyle Filipowski guard Chef Burns. Chef DJ Burns cooking it up.
30 points.
30 burger. It was 29, but close enough.
Counts as 30.
Counts as 30. DJ gets a multiplier.
Yes.
I mean, and he was cooking. He was laughing at Filipowski. And Filipowski, I mean, Filipowski's a sociopath. He looked like he was going to murder somebody. I mean, it was not, he fouled out of the game. He was on there like plotting how he's going to get his revenge. It was not a good look for
So
dude.
is Edey going to guard Burns then?
100% because he can't shoot.
Yeah, I still think that he's going to, there's potential. I mean, I think both guys could get, I think Burns will dribble right around him and score on him.
No way.
I think he can do it.
No way.
I don't think he can guard him at all, but I think he'll be able to score on him. I really do.
How?
I just think he's going to be able to do it.
His whole advantage is a hook shot. He's going to be out.
Oh no, the baby hook always gets over.
Not over
defender.
Edey. There's no way, dude. Like, dude, he's an ogre.
He could get that over Wimby.
He's an ogre. There's nothing like this guy.
A little floater hook. The Glenn Baby
that's
Davis.
The Kevin McLaughlin where you shoot it without extending your arm.
You and your dad and Kevin McLaughlin have that shot. The squat spinner.
The squat spinner.
I agree. It's a really tough matchup. I think Purdue ends up winning the game. Obviously, I'll be rooting hard for Chef Burns, and then I'll let you actually break down the games as you can do that. I think UConn's gonna boat race Alabama. I mean, I think Alabama's just gonna have to shoot. Alabama's going to have to shoot 60% from three probably to be in it. Something like that.
Well, so
Sears is going to need 40.
Yes.
And shoot 60% from three. It's going to have to be something like that.
Well, real quick, I touch on Purdue one more time real quick. Like I said, terrible matchup for Chef Burns. The run comes to an end for the Cardiac Kids. Great story, great run. And I'll be the first to admit I was wrong when I thought NC State would lose in the first round. I bet on Tech. I really thought
everybody thought Tech would beat them.
So I was wrong there, but this is just the worst matchup possible. You lose your entire advantage. Your guards are not going to be better than Purdue's guards. Lance Jones is going to guard DJ Horn and negate him pretty much. Lance Jones is a pretty darn good defender. Here's the one saving grace for NC State. Matt Painter is not a very good coach. he had Braden Smith starting, little 6-foot Braden Smith started guarding Dalton Knecht. And that's why Knecht went off early. And they finally made an adjustment. So, like, he'll come out with something really fucking stupid, guaranteed. Like, he might come out with Edey not guarding him, Burns, and which would be moronic because you just sit Edey in the lane and Burns is never going to score. Regardless, bad matchup for NC State. Over the course of 40 minutes, Purdue will wear them down. They'll win. They'll probably cover. I don't think it'll be close. UConn, Bama, you're right. Bama has to shoot 65% from three. Honestly, maybe 75% from three, honestly. It's that big of a mismatch. Dude, here's the problem. If Mark Sears doesn't, tell me this, if Mark Sears doesn't score 30, how much does Alabama lose by?
I mean, 30?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Something around there. 20 to 25 to 30,
yeah.
right? Did you see what Stephon Castle did to Terrence Shannon Jr.? They played straight man. This guy was scoring 35 points a game in the tournament. He had 2 points with 10 minutes to go in the game when they stopped, when they took him out. I mean, he was negated. The guy's a freak athlete who can shoot it, who gets fouled. Stephon Castle made him look like a bitch. Absolutely shut him down. The guy's a freak athlete. He's an unbelievable defender. They're going to stick him on Mark Sears. Mark Sears is going to score 10 points at best if he gets to the foul line. And the rest of the guys are going to have to hit 23s to win this game. I mean, I just don't see it. I've already laid the 11.5 with UConn. It's just, you can't not. How could you not right now? So, yeah, I agree.
I think they're going to kill him. Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to argue against it. UConn's, like you said, led in every single game by 30, which is nuts.
I mean, you think about it, you know.
Yeah, that's one of the crazier sports stats I've ever heard.
It's
honestly.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's assume UConn and Purdue win, right? What's the line?
UConn by 5.5.
Ooh, okay. I guess not too far. I said 6 or 7, so that's not too far off for me. Yeah.
Because
You're probably right.
I think it has to be 5.5 because Illinois was
that's why
7.5, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Illinois was at the peak of their market is the only thing.
But I just still think Purdue's. I think it'll be 5.5 or 6.
I said 6 or 7 depending on how Purdue looks in their game. If Purdue beats NC State by 20, I could see it being closer to 5.5. I don't think it's, dude, 5.5. How could you not see a ton of UConn money in that? I mean, I would probably be betting UConn at that point. Regardless, I want to bring this up and tell me if you think this is a good breakdown of this game, if you agree with this. UConn's lost 3 times this season. Mm-hmm. One was against Seton Hall. Donovan Clingan got hurt. I don't count that game. They historically have struggled there. It was the first Big East game, and without Clingan, they're a different team. We saw that with Illinois. I think Illinois in the first half was plus 12 when Clingan was off the floor, minus 27 when he was on the floor, just in the first half. So he's a difference maker, obviously. Don't count Seton Hall. So they have 2 other losses that are legitimate losses the whole year. The first one was against Kansas, at Kansas early in the year. The second one was late in the year at Creighton. There's 2 common denominators with those 2 teams. Each of those guys have a 7'1" kid. Creighton has Kalkbrenner. Kansas has Hunter Dickinson. I've been saying this all tournament. Purdue's the only team that I thought could have any chance to beat UConn. I don't think they're going to beat them, but just for sake of argument, let's say I'm right. You have to have a 7-foot guy because I think the only way you can beat them is you have to be able to guard Clingan one-on-one in the post, which Edey will be able to do. Yeah. Edey has to win that matchup by 5 to 10 points and 3 to 5 rebounds to have any remote shot, basically. That has to happen. You look at the 2 games against those big men. Clingan against Creighton, 12 points, 6 of 9 from the floor, didn't shoot a free throw, 7 rebounds. Against Kansas, 3 of 8 for 8 points and 7 rebounds. He didn't play well in those 2 games against 2 giant 7-footers, right? And neither of us think very highly of Kalkbrenner. So he played good in that game. Yeah. But neither of us think very highly of him. Then you look at, okay, so that's step 1. You must have a 7-foot guy to be able to guard Clingan in the post. That's check, right? Check mark for Purdue. Step 2, you have to shoot it well from behind the arc. The 2 games that they lost in those games, Creighton against UConn, 14 of 28 from 3. Hit 14 threes in the game, shot 50%. Kansas, 9 of 14. Hit 9, shot 63%. Purdue didn't shoot it well against Tennessee, but they're the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country percentage-wise. Check mark number 2.
And they still beat Tennessee.
And they still beat Tennessee. They made 3 threes the entire game. Step 2, check mark. Step 3, you cannot let 2 of their guards have good nights. Not great, just good. If 2 of their guards have pretty good nights, you can't win. Tristan Newton in their 2 losses scored 30 in both games. In those 2 losses to Creighton and Kansas. Cam Spencer and Alex Caravan in both those games did not play well. That's how they lost. So essentially, you have to have, if all those things go well, you have a shot, right? Like, you still might not win.
It could happen. Listen, I don't think anybody but Purdue could beat him, but Purdue could beat him. It's just Edey's so big, and like you said, if he can neutralize Klingman and, Purdue probably statistically shoots it better, right? They're the number 1, 3-point shooting team. I think UConn's a better overall team, but like you said, if anybody's going to beat them, it's going to be them. I think line would be 5.5 or 6. That'd be my guess, but yeah. I mean,
you're a betting man. Who would you take?
I honestly would like to see that matchup. If I wasn't retired, I'd probably go, man, dude, if it's a full 6 points, I don't know. It depends how they look. It depends how they look in these 2 games. If Purdue just comes out and absolutely mashes NC State and looks really good and is shooting it well in that gym, because you know how hard it is. They were saying Final Fours.
Different.
They're playing in a 70,000, seat dome. It's just different. So it'll be interesting to see how those games turn out. But yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to bet any amount of points against UConn, obviously. So they've just looked so damn good. But I hope that is the matchup because I want to see that game.
Of course. I think everybody does. I think because we've seen every game UConn plays is not competitive, and it's enjoyable for someone to watch who enjoys good basketball for like 10 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, so
and then the other. What else you got on the national championship? Anything?
No, nothing else in the national.
I was going to say in other news, we got baseball that just started. I was going to say with a group of guys opening day.
There you go. I was going to say this is going to be our new segment. It's called Uncle T's American Pastime, and he's going to give his baseball talk. So
okay, yeah, there you go. Not a good start of the season for my Houston Astros. 0-4, swept by the New York Yankees.
Wow.
The great thing about baseball is it really doesn't matter. There's 162 games. So
is that
if you start out 0-4, it's not good. It's not good. I don't necessarily like the all 162 games. I think you could shorten it a bit. But the funny thing for baseball with me, and I don't know if I've touched on in this podcast before, but I find it hysterical that you play 162 games. And in the first series that you play in the playoffs is best of 5. They're the only sport that does that. So you play 162 games, get the best teams in it, and you play a 5-game series, which I think is hysterical. I only like that at this point is because the Dodgers are so loaded and they spent so much more money, and they're the best team in baseball on paper by far. That first 5-game series, maybe Clayton Kershaw doesn't pitch well, or their ace now is Tyler Glasnow, but say he doesn't pitch well and you lose game 1, well then, in a 5-game series, anything can happen in baseball, So that makes it well, but if you're really going after, we play 162 games to make sure the best teams win, and you get to the playoffs and play a 5-game series, I find it funny. But yeah, so Yankees swept the Astros. Orioles look good. They're 2-1 early. Rangers got off to a nice start of the season. Everybody knows how good the Braves are. They're the second best team behind the Dodgers on paper in the National League. The NL Central always starts out funny with like the Pittsburgh Pirates playing well. They're 4-0. They're like one of the worst teams in baseball. They spend no money.
They got a lot of hope.
They're actual, a lot of hope. Great ballpark, no money, no hope for the team. But yeah, we'll touch on baseball going forward a little bit. Bailey brought up, I still watch a little bit of soccer. Premier League's heating up. I think there's like 8 games in the season left. 3 teams separated at the top by less than 3 points. That's a close one.
I said Uncle T's American Pastime. Enough of this fucking soccer shit.
European shit.
But we will. Foreign shit on this podcast.
Yeah, that's right. No one, no fucking foreign shit. It's America through and through. Only colors I need are red, white, and fucking blue.
We sell American beer here to kids of age. Come back for a Bud Light when you're 14, okay?
That's fucking funny. And then we'll see if we can get my buddy Sean on next couple weeks. Yeah, hockey.
I do have some more
played
when you're done,
junior hockey. So
he played what?
I think the Western League junior hockey
league.
League.
Like he played professionally.
juniors. So hockey's weird. It's like before you go to college or go to the NHL, you play in the Canadian juniors, which is like your best players in the world, like your Connor McDavid or your, I think Nathan McKinnon probably played there too, but it's like you play Canadian juniors and then you get drafted into the league from there. So it's like when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, then you're 18, you go to the draft. It's something along the lines of that. But yeah, Sean's he'll be our South Texas resident expert in hockey. He does know a lot about hockey.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't watch. We both love playoff hockey. We watch zero regular season hockey.
Yeah, neither of us do.
We'll watch the playoffs when they're on, but I think there's only a few games left till the postseason starts.
We're gonna have some like fun guests on soon, like some of our buddies like that, and then we're gonna hopefully have some better guests. We're working on some sponsorships, but one of the guys who hopefully will get on, maybe I'm spoiling this, but I don't know. This has not been set by any means, but Turner said he's gonna try. Can I say this or no?
Oh, Joe Exotic?
No. Joe Exotic. We
can cut that.
No. No, we're not cutting that. That's happening. We're getting Joe Exotic on the show. But Wade Phillips.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up because Wade Phillips. This just in, folks. Wade Phillips can fucking coach, boys. The San Antonio Brahmas 4.5-point underdogs win it outright by 2 touchdowns. How about them Brahmas? We are 1-0. How dare you doubt us? As plus 165 underdogs.
Oh, were we underdogs in the game?
Yes, we were 4.5. The disrespect from odds makers.
I didn't see any of it, but yeah, Abe, I would. We got to at least. I don't.
We're gonna go to a game for sure.
Try to get him on at some point. My mom and Lori, his wife, are good friends, but at least go to a game and record some stuff.
Yeah,
We'll figure something out. But I'm glad they got the. Glad they got the win. We saw another crazy ending in the UFL.
Michigan versus the
Battlehawks for St. Louis. The Battlehawks are St. Louis playing Michigan. And the kid came in, drilled a 64-yard field goal. They called timeout.
65.
He called timeout and then drilled it again. I'm like, and I remember telling you right before that guy kicked, I was like, it's funny because like probably the best players, position-wise in the UFL are kickers because there's only 30 spots in the NFL. So like these guys are probably right on the brink going like, hey, I can kick in the NFL. And that kid, he's going to be after making 2 65-yarders back-to-back, he'll be in somebody's camp. I can promise you that.
He will. 100%. It's crazy because, I guess pressure is part of it, right? Like kicking on an NFL stadium is a little bit different, but like how many guys in the NFL could make a 65-yard in-game field goal, let alone to win the game? Just one. I mean, it's probably not a lot. 65 is, what's the record? Isn't it 66? I think it's Justin Tucker 66. I don't think it's anything longer
66 or 67, something like that.
I mean, that's essentially right on the line of the record, and he probably was good from a couple more yards.
We'll get it up to 70 here soon. These guys can just kick the shit out of the ball.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, obviously, for that to happen, it has to be like right before halftime or at the end of the game when you're trying it. But those guys, like the Dallas kicker that just doesn't fucking miss. What's his name that they got? That was the old soccer guy. He missed extra points and then didn't miss a kick.
How do I not know the Dallas Cowboys kicker's name? It's Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, he'd kick one from 70.
No, yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable. But we also had the Houston Roughnecks. By the way, why are the Houston Roughnecks playing at Rice Stadium? Why can't they play at Reliant?
I don't know.
They play at Rice University on their first home game. It was, I don't understand.
Probably much cheaper to rent.
Yeah, but you would think that the Houston Texans would just want them to play there just for pure sense of like, it's good to have football and have a minor league football team. I would be supporting that if I was.
Well, that's not how Roger Goodell in the league works.
Fuck Roger Goodell.
You can't line Roger's pockets. You're not playing at his fucking stadiums.
The Memphis Showboat beat the Roughnecks 18-12. We already talked about Michigan walking.
Oh yeah, Bailey's team, baby, the Memphis Showboats.
That's right, Memphis. He's got a real team to root for.
Actually, that should be the game we go to. If Memphis plays in town, we can go. Yeah. Just talk shit to Bailey the whole fucking time when the Brahmas are killing him. Long game.
Wait,
did you watch any of the Showboats, Bailey? Okay.
Wait, when? Let's see. April 6th, 2024. Where is this game? Wait, it says it's in 4 days. Is this on? Please tell me this is in San Antonio.
Probably not.
It's in Memphis. Fuck.
Yeah. We got to fly. Only one thing we can do, Bailey. Fly to Memphis.
Well,
we need to get me out on Beale Street.
Well, look. I mean, Big Dog could charter us a flight, right, Turner?
That's true. Yeah. I'll talk to Big Dog about that. We'll see if his pilots are available that day.
If they're available, right? Yeah.
His golf stream.
Yeah, that's right.
Or his G6. Yeah, his G6. We'll see if his pilots can take us. Money's no. Obviously, you pay for it out of pocket. He's that kind of guy.
Couple NFL.
Surprised he's not here yelling at us yet.
Couple NFL things real quick. J.J. McCarthy now projected to go 2nd overall. What the fuck?
That's
we
wild.
We keep talking about this, and he keeps going up draft boards. What is going on?
Apparently, Harbaugh said that it's like one of the best. I didn't see it, but apparently a lot of his pro day had to be just crazy.
Still a pro day.
No, I get it. I get it. That's like my favorite thing I saw. Bailey, you'll like this from all the clips. Being a Tennessee hater, it was is it Joe Milton or whatever his name is, the quarterback for Tennessee? They're like, if pro day was real football, he'd be the number 1 pick.
That's right.
He ran like a 4.5 and then was throwing the ball like off his back foot 75 yards. They're like, he's like, too bad this guy can't play actual football because this pro day is electric.
And he's just Ryan Leaf. Yeah. I mean, it's just bad.
Electric.
I'm interested to see how that plays out. I like McCarthy. I've been higher on McCarthy than others in college, but I just do not see it as a pro, especially not that high of a pick. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and we were like, really, top 5, and now it's 2nd? I mean, that's crazy. You're going to pass on Jaden Daniels for J.J. McCarthy? That's, especially with the way we're moving towards mobile quarterbacks in this league, it's kind of wild.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. Also, did you see the Rashee Rice thing where he was street racing and caused a 6-car accident and then fled from the scene, and he's now wanted in Dallas, Texas?
I saw that. The video of it where was he in a Lambo? Is he the one that got in the Lambo?
In the Corvette.
Okay, all right, yeah.
He was in the Corvette.
I just saw the clip of it or whatever, and he's wanted. It's hit and run, right?
Yeah.
Did anybody get hurt?
Yes, there was like 4. Luckily, nobody died.
Oh, okay.
It was their 2 cars plus 4 other cars. There were cars spinning out. Nobody was like seriously injured, but there was 2 guys who went to the hospital. There was a baby in one of the cars, and they just they didn't go say hey, let's see if these people are okay, and then fuck the cops and run away. It was like, oh fuck, we better get away. And it's like, hey, by the way, not only are there street cameras out there, but also that car is registered to you. People know you're in Dallas, and you just, what are you thinking at that point? The only reason I would think ever to run there, ever, and this, I'm not saying to do this, but I'm saying the only reason I would think logically in his head is if he was drunk.
I was already going to give a lecture to the people here.
Yeah, I mean,
about this.
Well, if he's drunk, then you get away.
You should not be drinking and driving. However, if you do think you would be blowing a .08 or around there, and you figure you didn't kill anybody and it was a crash and, everybody survived, if he was drinking, you're probably better off leaving. And that's not legal advice. I'm not giving that legal advice out.
Say that.
But those are just the facts. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm not promoting that, but that's exactly what happened. The only reason he was leaving is because the guy was drinking.
The only reason I would say maybe
allegedly, because unless they were street racing with some guy was drag racing him with a baby in the backseat.
The winner got the baby.
Actually. Oh God, you can't say that. We're gonna have to cut all this now.
Why?
Because you can't. The winner gets the baby.
What's wrong with that?
You're playing for kids. Anyway, all right. Anyway, look, don't drink and drive,
P.
people.
Diddy was sex trafficking yesterday, okay? We've had a lot of shit go down.
Who was doing that? First of all, P. Diddy, it's alleged.
Well, he's fled the country, so
no, he's back.
Oh, he's back?
Oh, yeah. He was talking on TMZ.
What?
Someone, in a camera in an airport. They, sit in the TMZ. I don't know. They said P. Diddy's talking now. That guy's probably a big...
Fight the power.
I have a feeling that guy's quite the piece of shit. But
no, I think he is. There was, one of his neighbors was like, yeah, school buses would pull up there at 3 a.m. and all types of shit would come out of there.
What the?
That's what I don't know if that was true, but some guy said that.
Allegedly.
It's all allegedly. But yeah, I will say it is interesting though that Rashee Rice is still at large. If that was the case, if you did drink and drive, then the next night you just be like, hey, I fled the scene and you're done. Why are you still wanted at this point? Why not just go turn yourself in? It's been a couple days. Why is he?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
If he's drunk, that's why not just turn yourself in the next day?
You would typically go in the next day. So that may not have been it. Maybe he's got, who knows? who knows the legal trouble he's in. But yeah, agreed. Now, yeah, you should always stay at the scene of an accident. But that's the only thing I could think of is like maybe he was. There was one with Stephon Diggs not too long ago where he was like his G-Wagon, like a $250,000 car, was just like found off the railroad tracks, like out in Miami somewhere. Like he had like wrecked it basically. It was a single car wreck driving somewhere.
He was drunk.
And he fled the scene. He said, oh, one of his homies borrowed his car. And anyway, he had a flat tire or something and left it there. Whatever. It was like a single car accident and fled the scene.
I mean, from a legal perspective, what can you really do to that person?
You can't do it.
That's why they do that. I'm not promoting that, but I understand the logic of it. Last thing I want to talk about, NBA playoffs coming up.
Yep.
The Lakers, LeBron had 40 the other night. Everybody's talking about it. I think it's funny. People want to use that as like a, he scored 40 points at 40 years old or whatever. Does this cement him as the GOAT? Like 40 points in today's NBA is like 17 points in the 1990s. I mean, it's a joke. He was playing the fucking Brooklyn Nets last night, who have basically already gone to Cancun. I mean, they are out of there. They are mentally checked out. They're physically checked out. They were up by 17. He's popping threes in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's a joke. There is absolutely zero defense played. You get to the free throw line 10 times a game by just getting fucking, touched, blown on by somebody. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But, yeah, I don't think it's all that impressive. I mean, let me not say that. It is impressive that a 40-year-old's doing that. It's just not something that I would qualify as anything to do with the GOAT conversation. Like, it's just, okay, he's old, he's doing it, he's obviously taking human growth hormones. This isn't anything crazy to say.
Michael Jordan was busy gambling and drinking all throughout his 30s.
That's why we love him.
Yeah, my whole point is LeBron James actually takes care of his body and does all of that. Michael Jordan, I mean,
smoking cigars, drinking beer.
Yeah, that's all he was doing. So
playing golf.
And the most important NBA topic in San Antonio is the Spurs are holding on by a thread to a bottom 3 spot in the league.
Barely.
So he can get the most ping pong balls or tie for the most ping pong balls in the lottery.
We're tied. Aren't we
I don't know
with the
who
Hornets?
Yeah, we are, but we're a game ahead in the loss column.
Do we have the reverse tiebreaker where if we tie, we lost to them more than we won? So
I don't know. Does
that work that way?
I don't know how that works. I just know that we're holding on to that spot by a thread. I'm worried if we win, then we'll be tied with the Blazers too. The Blazers and Hornets have gone full-blown tank mode trying to get into that spot. No one can catch the Wizards or Pistons. 14 wins, 13 losses.
I posed that question on Twitter. What would the line be if UConn played the Pistons right now?
Someone said, I forgot who it was, Mike Greenberg said that, UConn could beat them, and some NBA analysts just went absolutely berserk on them. I don't know if it was J.J. Redick or who it was. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, if you look at the starting 5 for the Pistons, there would not be one UConn guy that could start on that starting 5. Like, if you just look at it player by player.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying if they played, I think it'd actually be pretty fucking close. I don't know what the line would be.
No idea.
I think it'd fucking be pretty close. You get Dan Hurley over there screaming at the officials, and the Pistons would not give a shit. But
oh shit! I didn't realize the Pistons had a secret weapon. Buddy Boeheim's on the team.
He's on the Pistons?
Yep, 24 years old, Syracuse. Because
speaking of somebody who crashed and killed somebody, Jim Boeheim did that and got away with it. That is not a legend. That's true.
I don't believe that.
That's 100% true. He coached the game the next day.
Not Jimmy.
Out of respect to the families, let me just coach the game the next day. That's what they would have wanted. They were Syracuse fans.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not good.
It is going to be weird. We're going to probably have... This could play out a number of ways because it's so close here. I think Dallas, even the Clippers, but Dallas is 5th with 29. Pelicans are 6th with 29 losses. Then the Kings and the Suns have 31 and 7th and 8th. And the Lakers 33, Warriors 34, Rockets on their heels 36. I think the Rockets are like they had won like 11 in a row until they finally lost the other day. I think last night. But if it ended today, Lakers versus Warriors elimination
one of the
game.
Play-in games.
Well, it would
the last play-in game.
It would be to get into the right because you have to win 2 if you're in the 9-8. Which is crazy. The Suns, too. Like, you have 3 of the teams who you thought might be atop the West are going to be playing together. Even the Kings. The Kings were, what, the 2 seed last year, right? 2 or 3 seed? think they were the 3. The only teams who have clinched playoff spots are OKC and Denver. OKC's actually jumped back into first place, playing pretty good. They're going to get probably the Lakers or the Warriors in the first round.
Yeah, man, the West is just so tough.
And then the East on the other side, the Bucks are 15-13 with Doc at the helm. And what's really interesting is if this plays out how it could, Embiid just got cleared. He's going to play this week. 7 games left in the regular season. They could get the 7 seed and play the Bucks in the first round, which would be fucking hilarious.
Is Embiid going to come back, they said?
He's back. He's cleared today.
Oh, shit.
He's going to play. He's going to play tomorrow or the next day.
No one wants to draw them in the first round, that's for sure.
And so they're the 8 spot right now. If they win that play-in game against Miami, which that's going to happen. It's going to be them versus Miami, or it's going to be them versus the Pacers. Whoever, if they win that game, they're the 7 seed. They'd play the Bucks in the first round. And that would just be a great matchup with Doc playing his old team because it'd be fucking hilarious if they lost.
Yeah.
Because what do you do? By the way, what do you do if you're the Bucks if they get bounced in the first round from a coaching perspective?
I don't know what they'll do. How long did they sign Doc Rivers for?
I don't know. But they just...
I assume it couldn't have been long, right? This almost has to be like a trial run,
That's
right?
what I thought. I thought it would be temporary.
Like 2 years or something, like a smaller deal.
He got a 4-year, $40 million deal through 2027.
He's not going to get fired if they get bounced.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Is the ownership still paying Bud? They have to be, right?
Yep, and they're paying Anthony Grant, or not Anthony Grant. That's the head coach of the what's this guy's Griffin?
Got it. Yeah,
Griffin.
Orlando's playing pretty good this year, huh? 43
they just
and 31.
play hard, and they've got a bunch of young dudes, kind of like the Kings last year. But none of that, all that pales in comparison to the biggest matchup of the night, which is LSU versus
Knew we'd get there,
Iowa.
folks. We would bring it full circle back to women's basketball.
We have to finish here. Where Caitlin Clark, the legend, the GOAT, the one and only, the monster, the terror of Iowa City.
Oh, God.
She's coming for LSU. She is going to absolutely annihilate LSU tonight. And she's going to laugh in Kim Mulkey's face.
Wow.
And I'm going to enjoy watching the press conference after the game when they lose and Iowa wins. And I want Caitlin Clark to rub it right in her fucking face.
I just think she looks
I call her
like
Meth Head Susie. I don't know.
Meth Head Susie?
Yeah.
I think she just looks like someone that drinks like a bunch of box wine and smokes a couple packs a day.
Couple cowboy killers?
Yeah, a couple Marlboro Reds.
I will say the one person who does not look like a meth head is the point guard for LSU, Haley Van Lith. Very good looking.
Oh, yeah.
22-year-old woman. But going to be a heck of a matchup tonight.
Can't wait.
Tune in.
Can't wait.
Lock in. Get your popcorn ready. Iowa's coming.
And just before we end this,
1.5 point favorite, by the way. I'm laying that.
Big Dog.
Max bet. Your baby bet.
Big Dog wanted me to tell everybody that do not forget, don't believe the Caitlin Clark hype, that he could beat her 11-2 one-on-one.
Minus 10.5. She would be minus 10.5 in the game to 11. Would he score
Big Dog,
1 point is the question.
Big Dog by 8.
Big Dog by 8. Would you
11-3.
Would you put real money if I set this up? Like if we became a big podcast like Barstool and we got Caitlin Clark to come to our office?
Well, first of all, it would never happen because I refuse, even if we get big and you're in charge, that we'd ever pay Caitlin Clark $5 million to do anything.
I never said I'd pay her $5 million.
Well, no, that's what Dave Portnoy was going to do. So that's what you're like competing with.
No, I'm just saying I want her to come for the day and play my dad one-on-one. I'll give her $50,000. Hey, come play my dad one-on-one.
Probably won't show up for it, but I mean, yeah, Big Dog by $1 million.
Would you bet me on it?
Yeah, if you get it set up, I'll bet you on it.
How much did you bet me on it?
$5.
No, bullshit. It's got to be like at least $5,000 minimum.
No, I'm betting.
If we're that big, that's nothing to us. It's pocket change.
I'm betting Big Dog.
Okay, $5 standing bet.
Big Dog by $1 million.
$5 standing bet. Caitlin Clark versus my dad.
Bailey's also got Big Dog. He knows he can't pick.
Bailey would never bet on Big Dog in that matchup.
Oh
she is, and
the disrespect is
Big
just
Dog,
disgusting.
I don't even know. I would actually fear for his safety in terms of like he'd get knocked down and break a hip or tear something. She's physical. I'll put it that way.
Oh my God.
She's very physical, and
your dad's gonna be sick when he fucking hears this. You got a lot of fucking nerve talking about Big Dog like that.
we forgot to do. We wanted to do San Antonio shout-outs for this week. We forgot to do them.
Did we?
Yeah, we said we were going to start doing that segment.
I don't remember that. Must have been you and Bailey, but
no,
we can do it.
It was you and me. We were talking about
shouting out who?
How you said you were like, we should start going for the Final Four to be in San Antonio every year, and I said we should do a segment where we shout out some new place in San Antonio.
Also, I got to bash Detroit again. It came over on my ESPN feed that they're hosting the NFL draft in Detroit, which is fucking outrageous as well. I don't know what the fuck we're doing here as a society, but hey, all you sports fans, come on out to Detroit and watch your favorite team draft players. No one wants to do that, okay? That needs to be in Vegas every fucking year, the NFL draft, or Nashville. Yeah, a city that you would actually go, draft, walk around, enjoy the town.
Why would you not walk around in Detroit?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't look that nice from pictures. I haven't been there. It's allegedly not nice. Also, yeah, San Antonio shout out. I'm on the record saying we should host the Final Four every year. It should be like Omaha, Nebraska hosting the college basketball. Haters can say whatever they want. Jim Nantz, who's smarter than every fucking single one of you, said San Antonio should have it every year.
Yep.
On the broadcast, he goes, well, I know they can't do it every year, but, every year you're allowed to have it. It's in the middle of the country. City. Everybody stays on the Riverwalk. Yes, it's a muddy little creek. There's plenty of bars. There's great restaurants. Get on the boats. Walk across to the Alamo Dome. I get the Alamo Dome's a bit of a dump. Doesn't matter. Watch the games there. It's better.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Better than Detroit. That's my argument. Closing argument. It's better than Detroit. If Detroit can host a Sweet 16 in an NBA draft, we should have the Final Four every year here.
I mean, you think about it like New Orleans, the Superdome's a dump, if we're being honest, and they host all the time.
Superdome's a shithole.
It's a shithole, but the city's great.
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't even mind doing, like, a trade-off where every other year it was New Orleans, San Antonio or something.
There we go.
That's cool, too. I'm cool with that. But San Antonio...
Bourbon Street Riverwalk.
Right.
Bourbon Street Riverwalk.
I love that. That'd be great. I mean, honestly, they could do it. You could honestly even do a national championship and for each, like, for football and basketball. Anyway, I'm going to give one San Antonio shout-out to my boys from Zito's over there. Brad caught me some beans and a drink the other day.
Wow.
Because he knows I'm trying to save some money. He's a very, very good dude.
Great sandwiches.
One of my favorite people all time. Great sandwiches. Best place to eat. Maybe one time, maybe we'll have an official sponsor from Zito's soon.
We should.
And they'll put our little Slobberknocker Sports Podcast banner up in the shop. They've got 2 locations, one on Broadway, one on Babcock. Go check them out. Get yourself a serious sandwich. I'm going there right after we finish this in 2 minutes. And I was going to shout this random one out. How about Cool Crest Mini Golf? If you've never been there, great, best mini golf place in San Antonio. 2 courses, got the old one, the new one. They now have a little place that they built for music to be played for like live bands. They have
drinks,
a bar,
don't they?
Yeah, they got a bar. They got a little food truck over there. Got wieners. Affordable pricing. Go down to Cool Crest. And Cool Crest, if you want to sponsor us, that would be cool as well. But if not, we're just going to promote San Antonio businesses on here until people go and start supporting them. And maybe we'll go around and start doing these different things, like play mini golf at Cool Crest and film it and be like, hey, this is the best.
Smart. I'd fucking kill Bailey in mini golf.
Oh, we're going to get team outing to Cool Crest. I like it.
Are you shaking your head over there like you're going to beat me in mini golf? You must have lost your fucking mind.
Team outing to mini golf, and then we'll grab a Zito's sandwich on the way out.
Fucking mini golf champion in high school, all right?
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you join the bracket challenge and you are hoping to win a jersey, then check that out this week. See the standings. Big Dog is somehow in first place. We don't know how. We don't know why.
Fucking genius. That's why.
I know there's a couple outcomes where we're going to be giving away jerseys. Hopefully I give away a few, not too many. Thank God for Bailey picking UConn because they're probably going to win, and that'll save me a little bit of money. But if you do, just contact me, and we'll get you that jersey. You get the college basketball jersey of your choice. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, comment below. Comments are really important. We don't get a ton of them, and they help the algorithm a ton. Comment something. It can be that we suck. It can be anything. It can
bring back Big Dog. I want everybody, all the Big Dog warriors in the comment section, bring back Big Dog.
Or like, Uncle T needs to hop off of women's basketball because Caitlin Clark's the GOAT. Whatever you want to say. or
your mom would be the only one in there defending.
That's
Caitlin
true.
Clark in the comments.
That's true. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Check out my website. Follow us on social media. I'm actually thinking about putting us on an app, creating a little app for us right now.
Oh, all right.
Have a little app where we post our articles and our content and stuff. Regardless, all that stuff's coming soon. We got some special sponsorships and guests coming in. Make sure you stay tuned, subscribe for updates, turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and we will check you guys next week after the championship. Actually, next week we probably have to do a Tuesday show because the national championship is Monday night.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to clear that with Big Dog. We'll see.
We'll do whatever the fuck we want. Okay, we don't have to fucking clear the Big Dog. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll check you guys next week. Enjoy the Final Four and national title. But most of all, Caitlin Clark.
Oh, God.